One of the things that obviously is very important, not only to 3A SSI, but also should be important to all of you folks as well, because what our whole new system is with the CCEs and the TPVs is to maintain and assure to you the integrity of the 3A symbol when you see it on a piece of equipment. When we say the symbol is on there, that somebody has gone through great effort to assure that. There are mechanisms in place in order to help control when things go awry. There is a report of alleged nonconformance, and we would strongly encourage you, as you see things in the plant, if you don't think that they meet the standard, that there's something that you feel is blatantly wrong, that you issue a report of alleged noncompliance. We don't have any way of catching these types of nonconformances unless somebody who sees them tells us. And you're basically the eyes and ears out in the field. And we say the same thing to the USDA inspectors and any of the other types of people who are actually out in the plants, even the users. We encourage plant managers. They buy a piece of equipment that don't think it meets, put in a report of alleged noncompliance. We also are on constant alert for unauthorized displays of the 3A symbol where somebody is just using it because they think it's a good idea. We think it's a good idea, but we got to follow the rules. The number of us within 3A go through trade journals, trade press. We look at the advertisements. If they're showing a 3A symbol, we double check to make sure that they are on file and in fact they are authorized so that they're not giving false information out to the consuming public. And we look at unsubstantiated claims of conformance. 3A is a trademarked symbol, but people may say conforms to or manufactured according to any number of different claims trying to ride on the coattails of 3A. There's a very definite procedure for when we get a report if somebody doesn't think that they're following the rules, and anybody can file a RAN, which we call the report of alleged noncompliance. So inspectors can do it, users can do it, fabricators can do it, and they are always taken seriously. The RAND form is on our 3A website, so if you ever feel the need to submit one, you can get the form. We do ask that when you make a RAN that you are very specific in what you think the defect is. If you can, cite the specific section of the standard which you feel is not being followed. If it's a fabrication detail, here again, you think the radius is wrong somewhere, well, you need to state that, section D5 for radius, that the radius in the valve body should be no less than 1/32, and it in fact is 1/64. That gives us an opportunity to go right, narrow in to find out what information is wrong. Once we get that information, we start an investigation. We go back to the plant operators, we go back to the fabricators, we may even call who submitted the RAN, okay, to get a little clarification. What exactly did you see? What we're trying to do is determine specifically who is the responsible party. In the case of a pump like the Fristam pump, if somebody wanted to have an air blow, drills a hole in the side of the housing, screws in a tap so they can attach an air hose to it, well, that's not really Fristam's problem. They didn't do it. Their design is perfectly okay. If we can find out that this was the plant's operation, then it helps us figure out who's got to fix the problem. If the RAN is sustained and we say, yes, this really is a problem, it really doesn't conform. If it's a plant operation, relatively simple. You tell the plant, you got to fix it. You got to take the tap out. You need to buy a new pump head. You can't do that. But we're also assured that there aren't thousands of them out there like that. If it comes back and we find that it was the fabricator's fault, they didn't follow their quality control program. Their machinist wasn't following the rules, and instead of cutting a 1/4-inch radius, they were only cutting an 1/8-inch radius. And they may have hundreds of them out there. Well, then the fabricator becomes the responsible party. And we will then sit down with them and say, okay, you've got a problem, how are you going to fix it? And not only do we expect you to fix the one we found, but we expect you to fix every single one you've sold till the last time we've got a report that you made them right. And if the fabricator doesn't comply, we withdraw the symbol authorization. We also notify the trade press, we notify the regulatory agencies. Milk Safety Branch will get a notification of every RAN, so does USDA, so that they can notify you that now this model pump and this authorization is suspect. Don't believe the symbol on it. Treat it as if it's a non-standardized or unacceptable piece of equipment. Those reports of alleged non-compliance that we have adjudicated, you can find the reports on our website. We list them all on our website. If we have withdrawn a symbol application, we tell everybody this manufacturer is no longer approved for the symbol on this model pump. The whole reporting process tries to keep the circle closed. They know that it's been received, they know it's being investigated, and then they know that and get a copy of what the resolution is supposed to be. So yes, we try to keep the original reporter in the loop so that they know that they haven't dropped their RAN into a black hole and it goes nowhere. We have essentially a grandfather clause, and the 3A grandfather clause is not any different than what we had at USDA, which essentially says that as the standard changes, you go from version 9 to version 10. From the effective date of version 10 forward, all equipment manufactured after that effective date must comply with version 10. Version 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, whatever, going back in history, you don't have to go back and re-inspect and upgrade that equipment. It was satisfactory at the time that it was approved, and generally in USDA our policy was if it's in the same plant, been under continuous inspection, and hasn't been moved, minor, it moved from room 1 to room 2 is okay, but it hasn't been moved from Corporation Plant A in Tennessee to Corporation Plant B that's in North Carolina. Those kinds of things would trigger grandfather died, and you got to upgrade. But if it's in the same place under continuous inspection, and you've had the opportunity to know that it's been handled properly, that piece of equipment is no harm, no foul. Now, one other advisory I would give you, because this is an issue that we have been just recently discussing and reviewing within 3A, is that the display of the symbol is optional. It's not required. So to answer the question of that gentleman, somebody can build and claim they make it to the standard, but they can't put the symbol on. Somebody can have a TPV and get an authorization and for whatever reason choose not to put the symbol on. We have trouble figuring out why they would choose that, but they can. So our advice to you is if it doesn't have the symbol on the piece of equipment, treat it as if it has never been looked at by anybody.